Welcome back. So far, we have used percent grids, which are very helpful because they are already divided into 100 equal parts. But students also need to understand percent in other visual forms. In this video, we are going to use strip diagrams. A strip diagram is a bar or rectangle that represents one whole. We can break it into equal parts and then determine what percent is shaded. The key idea is this: 100% represents the whole strip. So if half of the strip is shaded, that is 50%. If 1/4 is shaded, that's 25%. If 1/10 is shaded, that's 10%. Let's work through several examples. For each diagram, we assume that the proportions that appear to be the same size really are the same size. Let's start with this strip here. We can see that there are 5 equal pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this last one, the pieces together will represent 5. 100% divided by 5 gives me 20%. So each large fifth will represent 20%. Now let's look at the last one. It's actually broken in half vertically. So that piece represents 20%, and it's broken into 2 equal pieces. That gives us 10%. So this piece here is 10%, as is this final piece here. But that 10% piece got broken in half again. So if I divide that by 2, I get 5%. So this piece here is 5%. So together we have 20% plus another 20, a third 20, a fourth 20%, a 10%, and a 5% shaded. And when we combine all of those, that gives us 95%. Another way I could have thought about this is that this missing piece is also 5%. So the entire thing minus the unshaded portion would also give us 95%. Either way, the shaded amount is 95%. This is a great example because students may need to reason from the unshaded part rather than adding all of the shaded parts. Next, we have this strip here. This one's actually broken into 4 equal pieces. So 100% divided by 4 gives us 25%. That tells me that each of these will be a total of 25%. This last piece, this last 25% section, is divided into 5 equal pieces. So 25 divided by 5 gives us 5%. So each of these sections will be 5%. We then have 2 ways to calculate the total. We can do 25% plus another 25%, a third 25%, and then the 5% to get a total of 80%. Or we can say that this whole thing is 100, and there are 4 sections that are 5% each. So 100% minus a total of 20% that is unshaded to also give us 80%. This diagram is 80% shaded. Students may solve this in different ways, and that is a good thing. One student may find the shaded amount directly, another may find the unshaded amount and subtract from 100%. Let's look at this one. This is actually broken in half into 2 equal pieces. So each half will represent 50%. That means this unshaded portion here is 50%, and this total area to the left of it is also 50%. This one on the left is actually broken into 5 equal pieces. So we take our 50% and divide by 5 to get that each one of these is 10%. And then one of those 10% is in fact broken into halves again. 10% divided by 2 would give us 5%. So both of these little small sections at the very end are each 5%. Our total is then 4 different 10% and one extra 5% piece, which gives us a total of 45%. So the shaded amount in this particular diagram is 45%. Next, let's look at this one here. This one is broken into 2 equal pieces, the left and the right. So that gives us 100% divided by 2. Tells me that each of these big sections is 50%. The one on the left is broken into another 2 pieces. So 50% divided by 2 gives us that each of those is 25%. That'll be this section here. The final 25% is broken in half again. So when I divide by 2, I get 12.5%. That's this piece here as well as the unshaded piece. So our shaded amount is 50% plus 25% plus 12.5%, which gives us a total of 87.5%. So the shaded amount is 87.5%. This is a helpful example because it reminds students that percents do not always have to be whole numbers. A percent can include decimals. Let's look at one more. This section is broken into fourths. So 100% divided into 4 equal sections gives us 25% each. One of these fourths is then broken into half. So we should divide. 25% divided by 2 gives us 12.5%. So that's each of these sections here. And since only one of these small sections is shaded, the diagram is 12.5% shaded. As future teachers, strip diagrams are useful because they help students connect percent to fractions. 1/2 is 50%, 1/4 is 25%, 1/8 is 12.5%. These connections help students build number sense instead of relying only on formulas. A helpful classroom question is, how much is the whole strip worth? Then ask, how much is each piece worth? That simple sequence supports strong reasoning. You're doing excellent work. Percent is not just about calculating quickly. It's about understanding relationships between parts and wholes.